Oh Lord, how does the camera go? This is my first time going live on my computer, guys. So if my eyes are looking a little cross-sighted, okay? So today, guys, before I get started, we are actually about to go live on FB, and let me just go ahead and lock in now with the FB group and see if she is on. Um, Hold on one second. And if you are starting in the chat, guys, my name is Vanna, and today I'm going to actually be on live with Miss Jovianna, and we are going to be discussing what they call the Winter Arc Challenge, and also my journey and how I got started. We're going to be sharing some inspiration. We're going to sharing key takeaways, all the above. So make sure you stay tuned for this, okay? Let's see. Let me go into the Facebook group and she's there. So it's 1 o'clock now. And again, I apologize if my eyes are like going all over the place because for one, I'm going to be on a different thing here. Um, and my focus is going to be actually on that. So let me see if I can. She's waiting for me now. Let me see. Let me see if she's. If you're here, thank you for, like collaboration. Basically, I have a wonderful guest that I've been following that I want to know what is going on because I see the progress. Water. Drink water, spring water. Don't drink no regular water. Don't drink no purified water. I used to work for a water company. Purified water is just they clean it twice. It's not the same. Spring water is the best. That's why it's a little bit more expensive, okay? Just a heads up. Anyways, if you don't know who I am, my name is MissJovianna right there. I am a digital marketing virtual assistant, and my goal right now for 2025 is to actually help because I know that's something that I have struggled with. Being that I work for I work a 9 to 5. I'm still in my corporate job. Hopefully not too long. That's the goal. And but I'm a mom, and I have my home-based business that I've been building, and I am trying to like switch. So I am trying to, eventually replace my corporate job. And with that goal, we have so much to do, right? And so many steps that you got to take. And sometimes we could get so lost and we could get burnt out because in the end of the day, we're trying to focus to make that money, and which is great, and trying to do those goals, which is great, but we forget to take care of ourselves. And if we don't take care of ourselves, we're not able to reach any goals. So with that being said, that's why right now, in the last month or so, I have decided to dedicate and prioritize my health. And that's why I am so happy to create this group, so that way you could do the same thing. And as you know, it's called Glow Arc, right? Because I had done this a year ago. I had discovered the winter arc, and basically it's just a time frame, more or less 90 days before the new year come, to start creating good, healthy habits, focus on the things that you want to elevate from, whether it's your health, whether it's your mental, whether it's your spiritual, whether it's your finances, whatever it is that you're trying to do, you can do it. But I would strongly suggest, definitely make your health the number one, and then you could basically align everything all together. Because if you don't take care of yourself and you don't pour into yourself, you cannot pour into others, and you cannot function. That's why it just doesn't work out. So I tried, but it doesn't work out, and so that's why I decided to prioritize. So I am gonna go ahead and bring this beautiful lady, that she is like doing her thing. So I'm excited. I'm gonna see before I do that. I'm gonna see something. I think you could share this. Oh no! Get away from me. Oh, it's lovebird. The love bugs. They're loving each other right now. Okay. I'm trying to see. Okay, I'm gonna bring them in the video, but before I do that, then I want to see if I can. No, I don't want to finish. Can I share this? No, I think I don't know. I thought I could share this in my. I think I have to do the opposite. I could do it on my regular profile. Okay, join on camera. Join audio only. There you go.
Hi, how are you doing?
I am doing wonderful, wonderful. So I'm glad I was able to get you in because I'm still new at this, but
it's okay, we all are.
You know, it's practice, keep practicing, you know, I get it.
Yes.
Practice, you know, it's all about practice. I am so, first of all, I want to thank you, and I'm such an honor to be able to have you here, especially as my first guest, because I know you've been rocking it, and I've been following you, and I've been watching you. You know when they say they watch you?
Yes,
I've been watching you.
Yes.
So I am grateful for that because I know that we actually came from the same, you know, we aligned from the, you know, Kingdom Wealth Academy, and you know, a lot of wonderful women there, and there's a lot of them that are, you know, doing what they gotta do. But I'm sure that a lot of them, you know, let go because they got burned out and they just got lost, and they just started doing things just because it was told. And sometimes we have to fall back and be like, okay, what's important for me and what am I really passionate about? Exactly. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this real quick. And like I said, hopefully the girls can get in here. If you don't see it live, go ahead and hit a 1 or a replay. Just say replay so that way I'll know who actually gets to see a replay. But I'm gonna go ahead and ask you a couple questions. So first of all, let's go ahead and introduce yourself, right? And go ahead and tell us what inspired you to start your journey.
Well, I tell you, it's the long thing, so you might have to be a little patient with me. It can get a little long-winded, okay?
It's all good. It's all good.
Yes, but I also wanted to write something that was definitely inspiring to those that do watch, okay? So if anybody don't know, I am Vanna. I'm a woman of the Most High and a wife and a mom and a nurse practitioner, board certified nurse practitioner. And I just want you guys to know that you are not defined by any of your past circumstances. You're resilient, you're capable, and you're perfectly capable of taking circumstances and using them to transform your life for the better. Okay?
Yes.
Yes. So I had an excellent upbringing and a very supportive family. However, along the way, I became that broken little girl that was like good at hiding her feelings and emotions and feelings. You know, I'm the oldest of 3 siblings from my mother's side. And around about the age of 9 or 10, my mother and father got a divorce, which was, you know, it completely shattered my world, you know. So, you know, I'm currently on my healing and self-discovery, holistic wellness journey and weight loss journey. And where I'm pretty much taking you along with me on my YouTube channel. I want to be pretty much fully transparent with people because this is a journey that it has its highs and its lows. Okay. I'm not perfect, but who is, you know? Mm-hmm. And when I had the idea of starting my channel, I just wanted to really impact people. I wanted them to, especially women, because as a woman myself, I have gone from, you know, being very independent to being codependent to rediscovering myself. Okay. So I did not believe that my story had any value initially. So kind of to give that way I started and stopped on my journey, I kind of started and stopped on my journey. Okay. I also had a bad case of imposter syndrome along the way, like we all do. If you are unfamiliar with imposter syndrome, for anybody that's listening out there, you know, it is an uncomfortable feeling that you experience when you think you're unqualified or incompetent. It is a state of fear and lack, and two things that God does not operate off of. We are created to have abundance and live as such. But as you can see, I have found peace and value in my own strength in God. And I honestly, truly believe it is not my will, but God's will. As I keep getting this urge to share my story as I grow. So the mind, as you know, is like literally our defense mechanism. It is our way of about acknowledging our feelings before being consumed. And when I know I'm going long, but
I know I need to hear this. I'm pretty sure the girls need to hear it too. I love it.
Yes.
Go ahead.
As I, pretty much share my story, what makes me resilient, and probably in your experience as well, the foundation of building resilience relies on a lot of key principles, and that is finding your purpose, believing in yourself, developing a social network, embracing change and being optimistic, nurturing yourself, developing problem-solving skills, establishing goals, and taking action and committing to building those skills over time. So just fair warning, based on my story, I do have some things that can be a little, very triggering for some people. But when I was listening to this sermon from Sarah Jakes Roberts, she expressed that when you avoid your triggers, you will avoid the healing that's connected to that moment. And not every trigger is meant to destroy you. Some are meant to deliver you. And at the age of 6, I was SA'd by an individual on multiple occasions, experienced my mother being, beatily beaten by my dad, domestic violence in my family. And luckily for my father at this time, I'm so glad that he has been delivered by God and he's no longer that person, thank goodness. But I just want to make sure that, as I got older and I understood, I didn't blame him, for, this generational thing that he had going on in his life, because that's what he grew up in. So thank God for that. But I went through a traumatic time in my life, from my parents' divorce to the death, to the my parents' divorce, to the death of my aunts, to multiple heartbreaks, multiple failures, lack of love, lack of love for myself, emotional eating, with multiple attempts of various diets, causing me to develop an unhealthy relationship with food and how I view myself. Years of pain, years of hiding my trauma and true feelings. And I was one of those kids that never really acted out on my emotions. I pretty much behaved, I hid my emotions, and I literally just kind of wrote everything down. I was just that type of girl, I was that older sister. I was the older sibling as well on my mother's side. And I literally felt like I had to hold it all together. I felt like I had to be there for my mother, So like I said, I journaled some of my experiences and others that I can't really seem to remember. And if I had to all go back, the brain kind of registers, overwhelming trauma, and then it can essentially block memories in a process called dissociation, or detachment from your reality almost. So that's what I felt like I experienced. But we never really truly forget. And, unresolved trauma as a child can really manifest in your adult life as depression, as anxiety, as abandonment, grief, feelings of fear, low self-esteem, insecurity, PTSD, and, difficulty forming trust amongst people, And I had finished high school and all I knew was to be successful. This is just me. I had to be successful, and I wanted to be like my mother, who was very resilient in her own way. I saw her as my role model. And this is all she wanted from us, despite the things we went through. She tried to shield us from some of those things, but we all go through things. I took this upon my I took this upon my head as a commitment to her to make sure that I do the best that I could for her. And school was literally an outlet for me, if I have to say. School was something to distract me from my own thoughts at the time, and I never wanted to pretty much let her down, of course. And all I ever wanted to do was make her happy. I wanted to make her proud, and I wanted to make myself proud too. But my successes were just that. I had accomplishments, I had goals, my dreams, my aspirations, but did I really have all of those things? They say that you can only hide their inner pain and trauma for so long, and what is under the veil will eventually be revealed. I had my first failure in my life. I failed my MP boards at the time, and I was like, oh, hold on a minute, what's going on? That was like a triggering moment for me. Like, I never really failed anything, and I felt like I kind of let everybody down. And it was like a pre-catalyst for me. It was like an awakening for me. I doubted myself. I had all sorts of emotions kind of whirled. All I wanted to do was like pass my boards and move on in life. And I told myself, once I pass my boards, I will honestly be happy. Well, that time did come. I passed my boards, my nurse practitioner boards, and my mother was there as my support. She's always been my support. And I achieved my ultimate goal and no longer had school as a distraction. The days went on, but do you think I was really happy after all of those accomplishments? No. I had a lot of unresolved trauma that I had masked all these years. And my weight, I was 300 plus pounds as the result of it. Okay. In the year of 2020, God awakened me to a lot of things I didn't want to deal with at that time. I mean, I think 2020 was the year of everybody awakening. Okay. I was struggling. I had lost myself. I had no clear direction. I wondered how I could be so accomplished, but felt so much turmoil. I was depressed. I was filled with anxiety, filled with overthinking, filled with procrastination. I was gluttonous and even contemplated just often. I don't want to say the word, but I lost sight of God. I really did. And I was sure that he had left me. I was waking to all these emotions and more for 3 long years of my life. Well, to be honest with you, for longer than that, but I just suppressed it all until he awakened me. So for 3 to 4 long years, I would have to say, I was in a battlefield for my life for this long. And why? Like, why me? I kept asking myself. I was hurt. I really was. And I was like, Lord, where are you? So what I could say is God does stuff in mysterious ways. He really does. And I was trying to find a speaker for a woman's event that we were having at church. And I was one of those women who went to the church, but I was still battling if God even heard me, but nonetheless, I found a speaker who happened to be a friend of my sister's, and she was holding an event herself, and it was called Pray Sis Pray. I'll never forget this event. And I began, I was battling in my mind whether I should go. And eventually I did purchase the ticket. Thank God I did. But long story short, God was in the room that day. I felt his ultimate presence. I mean, the speakers had words that just filled your heart and soul. And I was never the type of person to believe in stuff like this. And to this day, I still like, oh my God, how did this even happen? But I wondered how one of the speakers in that room there, she pointed me out, like she literally pointed me at me and was like, can I come talk to you? And we're in the middle of a worship, but can I talk to you? And literally, she was literally came over, said the things that I needed to hear. It was like almost like God was embracing me. He was embracing me and telling me that I never left you. I never left you. You know? And, I just never believed this to this day, but I wonder how it happened. And I was like, oh my God, this here is just something that I just can't explain, but God was definitely in the room and he spoke to me through this girl. Okay. And yes. So after that moment, after that time, I was like, okay, I surrender. I honestly surrendered at this point. I believe in a form of healing that considers the person, like, body, mind, spirit, and emotions, holistic healing anyway, and the quest for optimal health and wellness. And, if anybody don't know, those pillars are usually like you have physical wellness, nutritional wellness, emotional, social, spiritual, intellectual, and financial, and environmental, And I believe God allowed me to experience these things to reveal my testimony of triumph. These things happened to me, but I didn't allow them to define me any longer. I began the work to healing first by developing and defining my relationship with my Heavenly Father. And I believe that this is the true key to anybody's journey, no matter what you got going on, is building that relationship with your Heavenly Father. The word is your ultimate, the Bible, I call it the word, but the word is your ultimate tool. And you need to detach yourself from this world, transform your mind, make sure to spend time with God, and always do personal development practice. And next, once you know who you are and know what your temple, and know that your temple is God's divine placeholder, I began to want to feed myself nutritional foods that serve a value. Food, I believe, is food for me, I believe, is a gateway, because the food that you eat will determine how you feel as an individual. When I fed my body food that was nothing but junk and gave it little to no nutritional value, I felt depressed. I felt anxiety. I felt like my body was going through the processes, okay? And once I gave my body the food that it needed to thrive, I noticed a significant change in my mood and how my body felt. No more inflammation.